All right guys, I'm back here with another video, and in this one, should be a quick one. I just want to give a quick review of the MotoZ Desert HT tyre. Now I've run this one, this is the first time I've run this tyre, and I got about 5,500 kilometers on it before replacing it. Now to spare you some time, I did replace it with another MotoZ Desert HT. So that's already a bit of a spoiler. I'm pretty sure that's going to indicate to you guys that I did like the tyre enough to put it on again. But stick around because there were some negatives and something that you should be aware of. But for the most part, yeah, great tyre. So now before we get into the nitty gritty of it all, we'll take a look at the tyre and the wear. But as an overview of the type of riding we did on this one, it was maybe half bitumen, asphalt, and the other half off-road, sand, outback roads. Nothing too technical other than the sand riding, but it wasn't like a high country, rocky terrain. There was none of that. It was either soft sand or hard asphalt. Now, just to show you the wear on the rear, this still could easily be used. It's really just the center knobs that have worn down quite a bit, but the side knobs, there's still plenty. So I could have kept running it, but they were on special on the rear, so I thought I'd change it. Now the front weared really well. That's still probably got another 3,000 or 4,000 kilometers on it, so I don't need to change it just yet. So from a traction perspective, honestly, this was one of the best dual sport tires I've used off-road. Now, I've used quite a fair few different tires, ranging from enduro tires like the Michelin Starcross 6 through to the D606, the classic dual sport tire, and a few different other ones. And other than the D606, which I have run twice, this is the only other tyre that I've chosen to run again after using it because it just wowed me with the amount of traction. The gravel, outback roads, it just never once felt like it lost traction. In the sand, it was great. So from an off-road perspective, this is the best dual sport tyre I've ever used, hands down. When it comes to the road, I didn't notice any shortcomings. At the end of the day, it is a dual sport tyre, so any tyres with knobbies aren't the greatest. We did run it in the rain a little bit, and again, fine. If you're pushing it, you're probably going to lose traction, but for dual sport duties, it's fine. Where it loses out to the D606, I would say, is definitely in longevity. I do feel like the D606 wears quite a lot better than this one. So if you're planning any long remote adventures, 6,000 kilometers plus, and you don't want to change your tyre during it, this probably isn't the right tyre. You might want to go with the Rail Z, which I haven't run, or the D606. I think the D606, you could eke that out, definitely, no problems. But if you're looking for a dual sport tyre for day rides, weekenders, 3,000 to 4,000 Ks, you can push it to 5,000 like I have, but this tyre, honestly, perfect. If you want to tackle the gnarly stuff and still be able to ride to the trail and everything and not have to change your tyre every other weekend, get yourself a MotoZ Desert HT. But maybe wait till you hear about the negatives and then decide if it's the right tyre for you. And actually, just lastly, before I touch on the negatives, it is quite a soft tyre. The sidewall is quite soft as well, so super easy to take on and off. On our recent Simpson Desert trip, we did have to take this one off on the side of the road twice without a workshop or anything, and super easy. Whereas something like a D606, super stiff sidewall, it's much harder to break the bead, much harder to seat it, and it's just a pain to work with. So that's another plus for the MotoZ Desert HT. Yeah, when it comes to the negative, I would say the reliability. Now, this is based off one anecdotal experience and two from some experiences I've seen online. But on our Simpson Desert trip, if you've watched that video, you would see that my brother encountered I would say a puncture, but it wasn't like a nail or something that you could see had punctured the tube and was stuck in the tyre. It was potentially a piece of metal or sharp rock or something. We don't know, but it pretty much gouged a hole in the tyre, and I'll have that on screen, but ended up gouging a hole through the tyre and into the tube. And You know, that was almost a trip ender. We were able to limp to the nearest town a couple of hours away, get another tyre and all sorted. Now, that could have happened to any tyre. I'm not gonna sit here and say, you know, MotoZ caused that to happen. But yeah, the reason I do bring it up is because there were quite a fair few reports on Facebook that I've seen of people saying that they did have tyre failures, ones where the center knob had just completely ripped off, and that there's potentially quality control issues with MotoZ. Now, because of that experience, I would say that if I'm planning a long adventure, very remote, I probably wouldn't run them again. We will see after the second time I run them how they hold up. Maybe it was a freak occurrence, but I would probably stick to something that I know is tried and tested. But because I don't plan to do any long remote adventures immediately, I'm going to be doing local rides, day rides, weekenders that aren't in the middle of nowhere. I'm happy to run the tyre again because of how much traction it gives off-road, fine on-road, and the longevity for these kind of rides is perfect. I can get a couple months of riding in, no problems at all. So yeah, I don't really know if there's much else to say. You know, a tyre's a tyre. Everyone's got their own opinion about tyres. You know, most people will find something they like and stick to it. I like trying different tyres, but because of how well it performed off-road, I thought, you know what, I do want to tackle some pretty gnarly terrain, so I'll run the MotoZ Desert HT again. But yeah, super happy with the tyre. I'm keen to hear your guys' thoughts on if you guys have run it and what you think of it, or potentially any other competitors that you think, you know, oh, you got to try this one, because I'm all ears, happy to try different tyres. But yeah, for now, I'll be running it again, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it treats me well. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next video.